BlockchainBrad, and today we have some really interesting news from China, from Vietnam, and also got some Neo news and some other general news as well for you. So guys, I'm going to try and keep this as short and sweet as I can, but I also wanted to let you know that I have recently done a very comprehensive Bitcoin and its related altcoin analysis. It's a really long, and I don't expect anyone to go and watch all of that. It was basically too long. But guys, if you do get a chance, have a look at some of the aspects of that post and see what you think. Because I'd love to know your feedback. So guys, let's get stuck into this current this article. Basically what they're explaining in this article is that the Chinese might be able to trade Bitcoin again very soon, which is super exciting. But again, knowing a bit about the Chinese market and having had established a few contacts in China myself, I was a little bit skeptical, I have to say, with this Cointelegraph post. So basically what they're saying is that very soon there's going to be potentially a company called ZB.com who's going to open up their exchange on the 1st of November. So in terms of investment for within the crypto space, if you are an investor in Chinese markets, it's really exciting because it means that potentially that it opens up access for Chinese investors, which, as we know, has a huge impact on the market. So if you want to know more about it, guys, here is the website. It's again Cointelegraph article. It's fresh off the press, really interesting to know about it, and provide some very basic information about ZB.com, when it's likely to sort of reinstate its position as an exchange. So exciting news. I wanted to back that up, so I found a site to support it. This was Forbes.com, and again, their article was all about the potential for exchanges to be reopened, and they were really hoping for that in their article rather than stating it. So it's not certain at this stage, guys, whether that's whether we can say that these sources are veritable, in that I haven't found any specific information to suggest that these are for certain and that it will happen. Obviously, the quality of the source is going to be important, but it is exciting to see that sites like Forbes are sort of reinforcing some of the questions that are being raised about will they open. So guys, there's that article. The next thing I wanted to show you was the actual site. So ZB.com. I imagine that it was had a few issues with traffic recently and it was shut down for a while, but it's been up again and running. And as you can see from this site, it does show you that it does plan on opening up its exchange on the 1st of November. So you can see that right there. It'll be open for trading. I went further and had a little bit of a look at this site, and you can see at the top here, it is a Chinese and American site, but predominantly Chinese, so that's a really good sign. And the fact that they are opening suggests to me either one thing is that they are doing so without the governmental permissions, or they're doing so with them. We don't know. But the fact that they are willing to risk opening in this Chinese space, in the Sino space for cryptocurrency, it speaks volumes in terms of potential changes in the market in China. So to then explore the potential other side of the argument, I decided to go and have a look on Gold Finance website. They often have some very specific posts that relate to Chinese companies within the crypto space. And what I found was that there is perhaps one other reason why there's been a sudden rush to the Bitcoin and the altcoins, and that is that as of 12 o'clock today, and this was only posted a few hours ago, there are two major exchanges that are set to close, and this was always planned for this to happen. But I just wanted to broach this because basically, guys, the plan that was set forth with the ICO ban and also with the exchange ban was done in a period of time, and the deadlines were actually the 31st of October for the larger exchanges. And what this article is explaining is by 12 noon on the 30th of October, these major companies, these two, had to close their doors. So this could also be another reason for the inundation of transactions that are happening within the Bitcoin and altcoin space. And maybe it's being overlooked by those people who are suggesting the otherwise, and that they are more promoting the opening of exchanges. This was reinforced by another site I found in China, and as you can see at the top with the post on the 30th of October, this was more like a news article post that they do. And this one was also explaining that two key exchanges will cease all digital assets against the trading against the renminbi as of the 31st of October. So again, it's just reinforcing the closures of major exchanges, and perhaps that sort of facilitates some of the understanding of why this market and movement has happened. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about today is an article that I found on, with regard to Binance, and you can see here it was done in an interview recently about some key questions that the interviewer wanted to know from when they were speaking directly to the managers or CEO of Binance. And one of the things that I found interesting was that there was a question about the Chinese crackdown, and particularly about ICOs and regulations that you can see there. And the response was, I can't predict the future of regulations. And I think that's really important as a general tone for the video when we think about China, because unless we have really credible sources, we just really don't know yet, guys, and it would be remiss of us as investors to go and rely on 2 bits of information that have been posted, or YouTubers who are also promoting that, because we have to look deeper and find out whether these are veritable sources of information and whether we can rely on them. So again, when Binance is reinforcing from their position and their experience in the Chinese market that they're just not sure what's going to be happening, and even with ICOs, there's every likelihood that that has been quashed for quite a sustained period of time. We need to be looking at that and understanding just exactly what perhaps the thinking is of the government in China. Now moving across to Vietnam, what's been interesting is there's been a bit of a flood in the crypto media about Vietnam at the moment, and there's this idea or consensus among many YouTubers and Twitter and within the Twitter sphere, and obviously in Slack and Reddit and that sort of places, that Vietnam is somehow going to ban all cryptocurrencies. Now, whilst I'm not saying that that's not true, what I wanted to do was just pull the brakes on that firstly, because as many people are aware, very recently Vietnam was quite objective about cryptocurrencies, and they were also trying to look at and explore ways to regulate this space. Then this article came out and suggested that perhaps the government's going to ban it, and that may be true, but again, I wanted to know exactly what the sources of information were. So this came from Gold Finance itself and explains that there's a likelihood for that to take place. So then, in response to that, I found another article that was written after this, and as you could see, this was written initially in Chinese, but the crux of this article was actually explaining that there hasn't been any confirmation directly from the central bank, which issues these bans in conjunction with the government. So that was important to know, guys, is that whether or not they do or they don't, we need to keep digging and find out what the source of information is and whether we can rely on it as we act in the very volatile market that we know. Some positive news with NEO. It's been really tough to actually find a lot of current news on NEO, whether it be in China or out of China, but I found this one and it was great because it just shows that NEO is investing in further projects, and they are certainly looking at Q-Link as one major investment. And you can go in and check out Q-Link. Thanks to Mikkel, who's a mate of mine on Twitter, so cheers to you, mate. He was able to locate the white paper for me. You may have some issues trying to find it, but once you do, it's worth reading. Basically, guys, it just means that as you see companies like Q-Link become part of the NEO investment portfolio, we see NEO itself be a more robust and reliable ecosystem in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. So it's just really great to know that this is happening. It's a fantastic concept and business as well. Q-Link is all about decentralizing the mobile networks that exist, and obviously that's a huge market, not just in Asia but in many parts of the world. So if you want to check that out, guys, it's really great. And if I haven't mentioned it before, Qcoin is one of the places in which you'll see current listings for both Red Pulse and also for NEO. So great to see, and there's also some links between Q-Link and NEO, so if you want to check out that as well. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was just a general sort of piece of news that I think is still relevant within the Chinese space, in that this post was all about positions that were opening up. There were 2 key positions, and they were related specifically to blockchain and cryptocurrency experience, predominantly blockchain, but I wanted to post it because it was all about the People's Bank of China trying to get more people and to employ more people into this space so that they can better prepare and establish and assert themselves as a dominant figure in the digital blockchain and cryptocurrency era. So great to see that Chinese websites are posting employment for this very important industry. The next thing, guys, I'll talk really briefly about this because I talked at length about Bitcoin and where I see it going in my long-winded video. And you guys know that some of my videos are very long, and apologies for that. But this one basically was about Barry Silbert and his company called Digital Currency Group. And if you're not sure about SegWit2x, it's worth doing some research. But this guy is behind SegWit2x, and he essentially represents a company, not a fund, not a hedge fund or anything like that. And he wants to utilize SegWit2x to benefit his company. So again, it's about enterprise, it's about building a centralized mechanism to profit essentially from Bitcoin's core features. Not a fan at all. The next thing, guys, is something that this is just the website, and I'm happy to send you the link. This is just Gold Finance, where I get some information from, and it translates automatically into English, which is really cool, and you can get some key blockchain information you can see right there. The next thing is, I thought I'd briefly talk to you about a Gold Finance article I found, and I found this really important because what it does is it explains in number 3 and 4 some key movements that are happening in Korea and Australia. The first one's really positive, so I'll start with that one. This one is where Korea is actually being recognized, cryptocurrency in Korea is being recognized potentially as a commodity, and they're even considering right now putting Bitcoin within that consideration, within the altcoins, in terms of its determination and definition as a commodity. And that is really exciting because Korea is one of the largest cryptocurrency markets in the entire world, and they're really bullish on the entire the crypto sphere as a whole. So for Bitcoin to be considered as a commodity means that the value is taken seriously, and that trading will continue very strongly in this space. So again, this could also be another reason why Bitcoin and its related coins have gone up really recently. So, and number 4, I'll just briefly mention, is that the Australian Federal Reserve is presently being cautious about Bitcoin, so they're not trying to support the idea yet of Bitcoin representing, being a mainstream currency within the, for mainstream access. Right now, they're really trying to be cautious about how Bitcoin's used, and as I've said in previous posts, Australia is really seriously looking at its own digital currency at the moment. So just worth knowing about that one as well. So guys, the next thing I wanted to show you was actually a post by Crypto Lola. And if you're not sure who Crypto Lola is, she worked with Michael of Box Mining just to get information and to share information within the NEO space. She works directly alongside Da Hongfei, so she is really well positioned to get information from, and I just found her few posts really beneficial to understand what's going on, because obviously, guys, there's not that much being posted. But Lola interviewed an employee within the NEO team, and it was really insightful what he had to say. She asked some fantastic questions. One of the key things I learned from it was that essentially the team regard NEO as more of a community than a company, which until recently I haven't ever thought of that as a concept to define NEO. But guys, there's so many key questions that Lola asked, and it's only the beginning really for her, and definitely contact her via her new YouTube. So it's called Crypto Lola, and absolutely worth investigating this further. Yeah, so guys, basically that's it for my brief news of the day. I also want to thank you all for writing down any feedback. Don't forget to click the bell, guys, because that means that you'll get posts when I do post them in all hours of the day. But I'm really grateful that you're part of the crypto space. I'm really grateful that you are even listening to me. And until next time, guys, it's BlockchainBrad signing off. Take care.